Hello everyone, Seraphin here, welcome back for more Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. When I last left you, we were just about done with Chapter 16, and we're going to finish it today for sure. There's not much left to do. We've already got one of the 3 treasure rooms cleared out, and we're working on number 2 as we speak, and then that third one's just up here. I probably could use Oscar to open those, because he's got a chest key, rather than wasting time dragging Soth all the way over there, so we might just do that. I'm going to go ahead and park Gatry over here, though, to deal with Mr. Swordman up there. I think Steel Lance is called for here. And as for dealing with Mr. Bossman, I think we're going to let Kieran do that. He's got a hammer, and if Kieran's not up for it, then Boyd definitely will be, I think. It's because Boyd hits like an absolute truck. Who needs healing? Neffany could do with a little spot of healing, I think, but we're going to leave... We're going to bring her up here. I want to keep my primary healer close to the up-and-coming difficult engagement, potentially. I don't think this guy is particularly strong to deal, or difficult to deal with, but he does have that spear, and I want that. I'm gonna get it when I kill him, but at the same time, I don't want him to waste uses of it on me, because I believe when I do get it from him, it has fewer uses based on how many he's used against me. We're trying to mitigate that as much as possible, and I think we're actually... Let's move Soren up here, too. Everyone knows that Armor Knights don't like magic. I think this guy's actually got passable resistance. He got 10. That's pretty good. Not nearly as good as his defense, obviously. It never is for Armor Knights. Alright, Kieran, show me what you got, pal. Again, we're hoping to redeem Kieran here a little bit after that god-awful blank level up that he had. There we go. Good strike. The Iron Axe probably would have been enough for me to 2-round him, but I wanted to be safe with the steel one, just to be on the... Just make sure we didn't take unnecessary time killing people that we don't need to worry about. This guy I will double. I'm fairly certain. Yep. And down he goes. Now that guy I think I did need the steel axe for to 1 round, so... Good thing I did that. We got a couple more guys coming in from down there. I think that's the last of the reinforcements. Don't believe there's any more. Apart between those 4 and the guys that came in from the left side with the thief. I think that's it. We'll find out in a minute. This guy tries to vainly strike at my Armor Knight and do absolutely nothing. As we are all accustomed to seeing from Gatry, is people doing nothing to him. Alright, what do we got here? We got Steel Lance and an Iron Lance, same as before. How does my Steel Axe strike this guy? Just enough to 1-round him. Look at that. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and do that, just because I don't want to worry about having to hit him more than once. And the Iron Lance guys will attack me and do probably not much, if anything. Another level up for Kieran. Alright, buddy, give me some strength. That'd be great. Luck and defense. You know, I will take it over nothing. Actually, his luck's turning out pretty okay. Luck is actually an undervalued stat, I think, in these games. For the most part, your own units don't have much of an issue getting luck. You'll notice the enemy units have hardly any, which is good because they're easier to hit and they tend to get crit more often. And your guys, every time you increase your luck, you're more dodgy and you avoid crits more, and luck's just good to have. And I think for the most part, there's very few units that have issues raising their luck. I guess Soren's luck is not fantastic, but he's one of the few examples. Everybody else got a pretty passable luck. Oscar's only got 8, Gatry's only got 8, but again, it's somewhere in that ballpark usually. Go ahead and crack open this here treasure chest. A full guard, fantastic. So this thing is one of the best items you can get. You throw this on like a flying unit, and they no longer have their bow weakness, they no longer have their wind magic weakness, nothing. Any super effective effects against that unit that equips the full guard, those are gone. So that's like the Delphi shield or the Philly shield from the other 2 games that we've played so far. But this is just, that's that on steroids. It doesn't just negate arrow weaknesses, it negates every weakness for anybody that uses it. So if you slap a full guard on a Beast Lagoose, they're no longer vulnerable to fire magic. You slap it on a Hawk or a Raven Lagoose, they're no longer vulnerable to wind magic or bows, just like a flyer. If you slap it on there's anything you slap it on, they no longer have that weakness. Put it on an Armor Knight, they no longer are vulnerable to hammers and armor slayers and junk. Just such a good item. Very good item. I think it's the only one you get, too, as far as I'm aware. Come to think of it, yeah, I think that is the only one you get. Which is fine. It's generally the only one you need. I tend to field a couple of different units that have vulnerabilities, but they're usually good enough to avoid them. Like, Gatry, yeah, he's weak to hammers and armor slayers, but his defense is so freaking high, it won't matter even if he does get hit by one. Not going to do that much to him. My Pegasi, yeah, they're vulnerable to arrows, but not so much wind magic because their resistance is so good, it's not going to be that big of a problem for them. Yeah, I think we're going to use Oscar's chest key to crack open his last 2 treasure chests and call it a day. Hopefully no more guys show up. I don't think they do. Like I said, I think the reinforcements are done. Going to be level 19 for Oscar. Show what you got, pal. Skill and defense. Alright, cool. Not bad, not bad. Oscar is very average, I feel like. But I feel like a lot of Cavaliers, Paladins, and Fire Emblem, as a rule, are generally pretty average as far as their stats. They're good enough in every area, but they're not supremely excellent at any one thing. There are a couple of exceptions to that, like Sane, for example, from Blazing Sword. He's got an insanely high strength growth, and he'll usually cap strength. There we go, magic, speed, and luck for Mist. Not bad. Everyone talks about Mist being garbage because she comes at level 1, but she's actually the best healer you can get if you train her up the time, and I'm probably going to give her bonus experience later on. I want to end up with a good Mist, because the couple of times that I've done it, she's incredible. She ends up getting a horse when she promotes, so you get a mounted healer, and she's the only one that you get, mounted healer. The only other choice of healers you get are like Riss. Riss is good, don't get me wrong, but he's too slow. He's really frail. He dies in like 1 hit from anything. His resistance is really good, but that's the same can be said for any healer in particular. Alright, how do we want to deal with this guy? Let's see what Soren does to him. I think he does a decent chunk. Wow, he doesn't double? He's getting slowed down too much. That's his problem. He needs 1 point of strength. He really just needs 1 point of strength. So that could be good. That could be very good. I'm a little shaky on that 4% crit, so I think we'll wait a second. What does Ike do to him with the Regal Sword? That's much better. That's actually really good. I think we'll let him try to hit Ike once and see where we go from there. Alright, so we just got last little bit to clean up and we'll be all set. Again, I believe Kieran should be sufficient to take out those armor, or not the armor knights, but those soldiers without too much problem. Tell your men to stand down. You go so far as to oppose the will of the apostle herself. Well, that's one way to think of it, I suppose, but... Like, really? You're gonna attack us? Nice! I was expecting Ike to crit there, almost, actually. That would have been hilarious. But he dodged the spear, which is good, because that means more spear uses for me. I don't think it's like previous installments where the item fixes itself when you drop it, drops off the enemy. At least I don't believe that's how it works in this one. I mean, we would have found out, but maybe we won't, because maybe he won't get a chance to hit me with anything. Axe level up for Kieran. I believe that's B axes for him. Might even be A. I guess we'll check in a second. Alright, this guy's not going to be in trouble if he even manages to hit me, which he does not. One more swing of the Iron Axe should be enough to finish him off, that's for sure. Let's take a look here. Well, I'm 1 shy, but he doubles, so that's okay. And then that's going to be... that might be pretty close to level 19 for Kieran there, actually. He's going to promote pretty quick. The nice thing about this game in particular, I know you didn't get a chance to see it when I did it for Marcia, but you don't actually need promotion items in this game to promote people. When someone hits level 20, they still gain experience after that. They get 1 more level, and then once they would level up at 20, they just automatically promote. It's like they level up from level 20 to level 1 promoted, which is fantastic. I love that. And Radiant Dawn does the same thing, which is even cooler. I think this is the only game that the only series of games that does that. I don't think there's any other ones. That's not necessarily true. In Genealogy of the Holy Wars, I'm learning when someone reaches level 20, you can just go and promote them for free. But they have to go to a castle to promote. They can't just do it on the field at any time. Whereas if your guy is level 20 and they're in the middle of battle and they get enough experience to level up again, they'll just auto-promote right in the middle of battle. Doesn't matter. Super cool, super helpful in that particular aspect. Did I say I was going to save that boss kill for Kieran, right? Yeah, let's do that. So the boss is going to heal up a tiny smidge from being on that square, but not enough that I think it's going to matter. Let's go ahead and heal Devdin here. Need some more experience for Mist. Like I said, I'm probably just going to end up feeding her some bonus experience. Why did I move Kieran all the way out of here when I still need to open up the chest with him? That's alright, he can move there. Got plenty of movement speed. So I'm hoping we have enough damage with Kieran and the hammer to take this guy down. Probably, it might be a couple points shy, but we'll see. This guy's not going to crit Kieran. At least I don't think he's going to, so... let's heal him up first, though, just in case something goes pear-shaped here. If I can get Kieran to be a reasonably good paladin, I'll be very happy. Because paladins are just so useful. So good to have around. And I like Kieran a lot, he's a good character. What does the hammer do? That's not what I wanted to see. Unfortunately, that boss is a little faster than I wanted. Who can come in and hit and run this guy? I need to do 4 damage. You know, 1% crit. That's not going to happen, right? I don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't. What does Jill do against this guy? 8 damage? That's respectable. I do 4 with the Iron Lance. That's fine. Problem is, if he does manage to land a 4% crit, I'm dead. That's the really terrible thing, is trying to find a way to land a hit on somebody and not die in the process. I guess Devdon's got the heavy spear. Like, he doesn't get crit. Yeah, there's no risk in that at all. I guess we can just let Devdon take a poke at him. Neither one can crit the other. It's almost like they put Devdon in here to give you an easier shot at taking down the boss. No one impugns his honor, lives to walk away. Pfft, honor. Whatever. Give me a break. Ah, dodged it. Nice. So now I can kind of give this kill to whoever I want. Who needs the kill the most? Let's see. Who is low level? Gatry, Soren, Ilyana, or Jill. They're all level 16. I think I'll let Jill do it. Assuming she can hit. That's kind of the big sticking point there. Open this last chest with Oscar. We got a bolting tome. You don't say. We'll take that. And Soth already cracked that open, so as soon as we take the boss out, we are GG here, fam. There we go, let's have that. I'll just have Jill fire a spear at this guy, and if it kills him, so be it. If not, then, well, somebody else. Nice. Goodbye, Mr. Bossman. Very interesting color scheme he's got. He's got red and black armor over top, like, orange and yellow underclothes there. Very curious. He looks like he's on fire almost. Like hellfire. Ooh, cool. Spooky. That is almost a whole level for Jill. Perfect. The faster we can get Jill leveled up, the better, because she is an absolute monster once she's promoted. And then there's nobody on the space, so I can just seize and be done. GG, everybody. Sorry, Duke Tanas, for completely wrecking all your face, but actually, I'm not sorry at all. My sweet, beautiful bird. We must fly away together. Yeah, good luck. How do you plan on flying, pal? Get away from me, you filthy fat man. So that, what you just heard and saw was, I believe it's Oliver casting a light spell against him. But because Rayson and Herons in general have such high resistance, I don't think he thought it was going to do a lot to him. But because Oliver is technically a bishop, he does have the ability to use light magic. Though the price may be my life, I will never cooperate with you. Uh-oh. As we knock the door down. You're not getting away from us, you scrub lord. And Rayson's like, who the crap are you? You're the... Are you unharmed? We've come to help you. This wound must be tended to. Stay back! So Rayson really doesn't like Bjork. Also because, well, they've been nothing but dicks to him, so I get it. Now we're traveling instantly back to the cathedral to see the Empress. The Grail mercenaries have returned. Commander Sigrun is awesome. We like her a lot. To unearth any meaningful proof. Where is the apostle? Where is she? No, sorry, not doing that again. She's in the garden having a pleasant conversation with the princess. I will go see if she will meet with you. In the garden? Great, bye. Sigrun's like, no, don't stop running off and doing your own thing, you jerkwad. How dare you approach me unannounced? 20 years ago, something happened in Serenes Forest. Something horrible. I want to know. This is actually a really big story point right here, too. And Lincia doesn't even know what it is either, apparently. We found one of the Heron clan, and a noble no less. How to impart this tale. Nobody wants to talk about it, but Nasir's like, I'll do it. I'll open with what is commonly known of the matter. So apparently 20 years ago, the previous apostle of Begnion was assassinated. 1 year after the Declaration of Emancipation of Laguz was made. I still don't know how to pronounce this lady's name. Misaha? I don't know. Apostle Misaha, who is Sanaki's grandmother, by the way, the previous apostle, was adored by the public more than any apostle before or since. Way to stick that one in there, Nasir. When she was assassinated, the citizenry was racked with grief. All of Begnion despaired. A rumor began to circulate that the assassination was the work of the Serenes Herons. The rumor spread throughout the capital, and then one night, it all happened. Citizens grew violent, they formed a giant mob and massed at the forest and set it to burn. 3 nights. In the end, the Heron clan was lost. So, on a mere rumor that the Herons were responsible for the assassination of their empress, they went and burned the whole forest to the ground and wiped out the entire Heron race. And Asanaki seems to know exactly what's going on here. You're responsible for the acts of your citizens, are you not? The accusation was completely false, and she knew it the whole time. Well, she wasn't born yet, so I guess it's not technically her fault, but... Assassination was not the work of the Serenes clans. Well, duh. Heron clan possessed no fighting skills. Their tribe survived by living a life of peace and piety within their forest. They never focus on their developing strength for combat, unlike every other tribe. Anyone who knows anything about Laguz would know that. At the very least, the citizens of Begnion should have. But they lost their leader, and in their grief, they cared little for the truth. Yeah, that sounds an awful lot like an unfortunate reality, too. Apparently, Nasir is getting pretty upset about it. As we know, Nasir is a Laguz. We don't know what kind of Laguz he is, because it's really hard to tell with him, but... he seems to have a lot of pent-up aggression as a result of that event, as a lot of Laguz probably do. Bird tribes of Phoenicus target only Begnion ships with their piracy. The Ravens of Kilvis are after cargo, so they attack anyone, but... Hawk clans hold the Herons as brethren. Still remember the false accusations and their brutal murder. So that's why Tabarn and the Hawks and Rayson and all them don't like Bjork particularly, because of what happened. And honestly, I can't blame him. Genocide against an entire race under merely a complete, total false rumor is it's a pretty pretty bitter pill to swallow. The Heron slapped my hand away when I tried to help him. He leapt from the window and spoke to me, and all he said was, "Remember the genocide." I don't know if I'd call it hypocrisy so much as just immediate remorse. But again, she wasn't born when it happened, so I guess she's not personally responsible, but the people did that. We stole the Heron clan from this world. So apparently Nasir seems to think she's actually reasonably honorable, but the senators are trying to cover it up and make it look like it didn't happen. So it seems more and more like the senators are a bunch of jackwagons, and... you know, typical politicians that just want to cover up and hide everything and pretend nothing bad happened and live in their own hypocrisy. But the Empress does not want to be that kind of person. She wants to fix everything that's going wrong, and as the leader of her country, it's becoming increasingly difficult to do so. But that's why she's having Ike do all of it behind the scenes, pretty much. Depends on what you want, Ike says. She wants us to find the Heron that we met. She wants to speak to him. We let that monster Oliver slip through our grasp. We'll handle both tasks at the same time. Is saying kill 2 birds with 1 stone too on the nose for that? Wait, yeah, that's not appropriate. I apologize. So yeah, we find out the entire Heron clan was burned to death as a result of a mere rumor that had absolutely no basis in fact. So that's a really big situation that happened that we're finding out about. We're actually going to progress onward to the next chapter right away. Get the story out of the way first, and we'll go into the actual gameplay next time. But I want to get this out of the way. This is a big deal. This is actually a pretty climactic point in the story here. And also, this chapter, 17, Daybreaks here, this chapter is special, and we'll talk about why momentarily. Here we're going to do a cutaway to Phoenicus, that is the Hawk clan's country. And here we see King Tabarn himself, who is amazing. One of my favorite characters in all of Fire Emblem, King Tabarn here. Super cool, dude. And here we see Neolucci. This is the King of Kilvis's right hand, basically. He's like his chamberlain or his vassal, his assistant. So he's basically relaying to King Tabarn here what's going on, that Rayson was basically more or less sold, but then he escaped and he's made his way safely to the forest, but the Duke's men are chasing after him and trying to get him. So he's asking Tabarn here to go help Rayson and get rid of the Bjork that are chasing him and bring him back to where he's safe. And then Tabarn's like, why the crap is your king not here? What's going on, you old buzzard? So, the Hawk clan is aware that the Ravens were supposed to be friends with Rayson, but it's all very complicated. If anything happens to Rayson, blood will be spilled. Yep, no kidding. Can be called at best abnormal, excuse me. Uh-oh. And you outed yourself. You crows set the prince up? Please don't hurt me. Sala treated Rayson like a piece of merchandise and sold him to a human. Claiming ignorance does not grant you innocence. Truer words were never spoken. You treated Rayson like a trinket in a public market. Perhaps the Crow King could have rescued him when things cooled down. Regardless, Rayson trusted his friend and allowed him to fall into a trap. And Nasala spit on that friendship. Yep, pretty much. And Neolucci here is basically just like, who cares what happens to me, just... What is it with you crows anyway? You're so deceptive. Tear me limb from limb if you wish, but please save Rayson. Yeah, pretty much. We would have rescued Rayson regardless. Why the crap are you here groveling? Report these events to your accursed king, and tell him when this is over I will pay him a visit. Oh, snap. Janeth and Ulki are actually really cool. Like, so Janeth apparently has the supernatural ability to see stupid far away, and Ulki can just hear everything. They're like, the two of them together is like Superman, basically. So he's like, Ulki, find the sound of Rayson's wings and tell me where it's coming from. This one doesn't make me a lot of sense. Janeth, use your eyes to peer between the trees and find me a road. They fly. Why do they need to have a road between trees? I don't know. Human scum. So Tabarn, as we see here, has no love of Bjork either, as many of his Laguz brethren probably don't. We'll be seeing more of him shortly, don't worry. And here we are back at the cathedral one more time. I think my nervous energy woke me up. I feel that. Like before a job interview or something? Heck yeah, I can't sleep the night before that. So they're still looking around trying to find the prince, but they haven't been successful so far. The only place left is the forest's heart. We should go. We probably should have started there if you think about it. I mean, where else would he be? I get the feeling it's going to be a long day. They don't really elaborate here. We're talking about how he's at the cathedral, the capital, and they've been spending the last couple of days searching, trying to find Rayson in the forest, and they scoured most of it. What they don't explain is that the villa and the forest are actually really far away from the capital, and it takes days to get back and forth. And I guess they just kind of skirt over that particular element. The geography of the region has gone into a lot more in depth in Radiant Dawn. Not so much in this one, but suffice it to say, them going back and forth and going all the way back to the cathedral every time to go look is wasting a lot of time. They could have just stayed there, like near the forest, and set up camp or something. But they haven't been doing that. Anyway, let's get these conversations out of the way before we get into the proper situation of gameplay here. A priest from the villa is here to speak with you. This guy. He's like, so you're looking for my master in the forest, right? So here we find out that the Duke's property is right on the border of the forest, and he knows all about it, like the geography of it. He sends people regularly into the forest to find more herons, because he's a creep. We thought the herons would make themselves known if a priest called to them. We would take chaste maidens and have them try to call the herons as well. So he's, yeah, a little creepy. Was not natural. Now, a lot of the stuff he does is kind of not natural. I get the general impression. The Duke has gone mad. That's an understatement to be seen. So this guy's willing to sell out his master to help us find him. Which, I get it. He's trying to do the right thing, which makes me sense. Divided into sections, nearly colorless and difficult to see. The muddy floor pulled at our feet and progress was slow. There's a lot of forces, soldiers of every type. Mounted units and magic users were especially powerful. Oh, good. But basically he's telling us there's going to be a lot of cavaliers and a lot of mages coming up. So get ready for that crap. So he basically stayed quiet out of fear for his own life. Which, I guess I get it, but at the same time, he's just now coming around to doing the right thing. That's a particular moral quandary that I've never had to experience, thankfully, but I'm not really sure how I would feel about it in that particular situation. Here's Jill again. We've been in Begdown for a while. Why are you still here? You're pretending to be our friend so you can lance us in the back? So here is Jill basically admitting that she's been raised completely wrong and she had no idea. She was born in the Talrega region of Dayan, a very remote area. My father was a soldier, and I grew up thinking that I too would one day be a soldier. She questioned nothing and doubted nothing. So she was also naive, but not for the same reason not in the same way that Ike was naive about Lagoos in general. And here she is telling him that they're taught in Dayan schools that subhumans are the enemy and evil, and they must be eradicated. The army stages subhuman hunts. And it's like, wait, you participated? And she's like, you don't get it. That's just how it is over there. This is another thing that I think a lot of people don't take into account, too, is we can, like, in the real world situation, we judge people based on some, like, you know, these things that they do. They're just horrible things that we would never consider ourselves doing. But if that's just how the way things are in a place, and no one's told them any different, and they've never realized how wrong they were, can you really fault them for their ignorance? Like, yeah, I guess you can, because what they're doing is still bad, but if no one's told them what they're doing is wrong and they've never been taught anything else, they're just doing what they think is normal. And that doesn't excuse it, but at the same time, can you really fault them for it in a certain way? Like, that's another particular moral quandary they touch on in this. And it just goes to another example of just how, like, it's how real the story in this game is. And now she's realized that she's been living a lie her whole life, and that Lagoos really aren't evil and aren't the enemy, and they, you know, they're not horrible creatures and whatnot. And she's just now coming to grips with this particular reality, and she's not sure how to feel about it yet. So she's decided to stay with our group to determine the truth. That's her true motive. She obviously has pride to spare, so there must have been something else at play. She wants to stay. She thought she could prove the subhumans were monsters, but now she's realizing that she's wrong. And she's actually not calling them subhumans anymore. So Jill is one of the characters, apart from like the main company in this game, that has a lot of personal growth. This is just one example of that, but this is another reason why she's such a good character. In my opinion, anyway. Jill, not only is she an amazing unit in combat, but she has a lot of personal development, and she comes from a very place of deep naivete and deep ignorance. And she's overcoming that ignorance and learning what the appropriate situation is and how to deal with it and how to view it. And I don't think there's a lot of people, like even in current days, that would admit that they were so wrong about something like that, that they had been ingrained on them for their entire lives. Like, can you imagine if you were raised and taught one thing your whole life and you're into your young adulthood, and then you find out that everything you were told your entire life was just a lie and you were wrong the whole time? Like, how do you think you would deal with that? I don't know if I'd have a particularly easy time of doing it either. Like, she's struggling with it, you can tell just from seeing it. And it's a very real human reaction. A lot of the stuff that they deal with, a lot of the moral quandaries, a lot of the situations that the characters are put in this game, it's very real. And that's why I like this one so much. It kind of forces you to think about a lot of stuff. Maybe I'm just kind of going on a tangent here, and I'm sorry if I'm upsetting anybody from my perspective on these things, but the way that I look at it, it's a lot of philosophical, a lot of moral quandaries, a lot of, you know, dealing with ignorance, dealing with naivete, and understanding just the right way to deal with things. I'm sorry, I'm ignoring Devdin's conversation here, and I'm not on purpose. I'm just kind of going off on my tangent here. So Devdin's trying to... Oh, this is great. So Devdin comes off as like this happy-go-lucky, oh, I just love the flowers, and things great, and life is great. And then he's got this moment of clarity where he's like, if you talk like that, you'll never defeat Dayan. And Mike's like, wait, what? If you're so focused on preparations, you'll wear out before the fighting begins. There's a lot of truth in that particular there too. I do that a lot. I do that a lot in my own life, actually. I overthink things. I over-prepare, and it never happens that way. Anyway, so that's pretty much the gist of our story up to this point. The next chapter we're going into, chapter 17, is actually, they don't tell you this at the outset, but it is actually split into 4 different parts. So Daybreaks is not 1 chapter, it is actually 4 chapters. As a general rule, those 4 chapters are slightly shorter than a typical one, so I could probably get through each of those 4 sections in like 20 minutes, as opposed to like half an hour or 40 minutes. So these upcoming 4 chapters might not be as long as normal. There's not really any story in between either. So these next 4 episodes might be a little shorter, but we'll see about getting through that pretty quick. This is like the middle point of the game. This is a climax. What's going to happen here? It's a big deal. So stay tuned for that if you're at all interested. A lot of things are going to be happening. A lot of personal development, a lot of character development, a lot of story depth happening in this upcoming chapter. So stay tuned by all means. I'll be back next time with some actual gameplay for that. At any rate, we're going to go ahead and pause it here for now, but I'll be back with Daybreaks coming up next. So stay tuned. As I've said, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you've not already. I would very much appreciate that. And feel free to leave a comment and a like in this video. I would also very much appreciate that. And thank you all for watching. It's been fun up to this point. We're getting to the good parts. So stick around, and I will see you next time. Until then, this has been Sterafin. Stay classy, internets.